From Elena Cassis. Now, le barbe is French for beard. It's also a colloquial French expression which means enough is enough. And it's the name of a feminist group here in France who don false beards and make it their job to infiltrate high-level, male-dominated corporate and government meetings. Cleverly using humour, the group will then read out a statement congratulating the men on their supremacy. And joining me here in the studio today, behind their beards, are group members Florence Pellissier and Gladys Bernard. And to the both of you, thanks for joining us. And do you feel free now to remove those beards? Yes. I just want to ask you, when you don those beards and you enter those shareholding meetings or, corporate meetings and such, how do you feel?
Well, even though we are completely legal in being there, since usually if you go to a shareholders meeting, we own the shares, so we are perfectly entitled to being there. We are aware, nevertheless, that we are gate crashing the event. So, of course, we feel a bit nervous and butterflies in the stomach, but it's still exhilarating.
But wearing those beards, does it give you an extra sense of strength?
Yes, maybe, because we see the fright in the eyes of the men of power. We interrupt the game and we decide now that we are going to take the microphone. So it's we are frightened, but we have a sense of power too.
What would you say to people who would describe such actions as cheap media stunts?
The thing is, what led us to start these actions was for me, it was watching actions of the beard, la barbe, because the absence of women in positions of power was something that we could not even see anymore. We were not really aware. So, of course, we use the media to try and show what really the meaning of our actions. But
what are the results of this?
The first results are to in the audience at the event that we are targeting, we create some sort of awareness of the issue. The first point of our actions is creating this awareness and making people really conscious that there is an issue. Unless you are aware that there is an issue to solve, you cannot take steps to solve it.
Okay, we'll hold it for a moment, because talking about women breaking through in the corporate world, the American business magazine Forbes released the 2014 list of the world's billionaires with a record number of women making this year's ranks. 172 women landed up on the list, up 25% since 2013, and a far more impressive 60% increase in the last 2 years. Still, it's important to stress that they only number slightly more than 10% of this year's 1,645 listees. Now, among those on the list is Facebook executive Sheryl Sandberg, the maker of Spanx, Sarah Blakely, and media mogul Oprah Winfrey. Florence, in your opinion, how much would the corporate world change if there were more women?
It is difficult to say exactly how it would change, and we do not pretend in our group that the presence of women in themselves would make things happen in a better way. But that's not quite the point here. We are defending the issue on a principle of equality, and what we know, though, is that if there were an equal number of men and women in companies, it would mean that in the processes of selection within the companies, within the corporations, we would know at that moment that these processes would really allow all talents to come to their full potential, which for the moment is not the case. And interestingly, from another point of view, I read in a newspaper over the last few months that in companies where there were a fairer share of women, they tended to be more profitable, which would go to show that indeed this allows all talents to be more fully realized.
And moving on, for 10 years, the